Some days I'm not sure how I cope. Okay, so we've already got the other two away in the baby room as well. So you're already covering lunches in there.
It's a typical day at the HILLBANK Community Children's Centre in Adelaide. The kids seem happy enough, but the staff roster is close to breaking point.
It is very stressful. I do feel that I spend most of my time staring at my roster at my desk trying to work out what I'm going to do for that afternoon or the next day.
It's a similar story across the country, providing an early test for the new government in Canberra.
This workforce is in crisis. There are just so many people leaving the workforce.
It was a crisis before COVID. It's now even more dire.
There is a broad consensus about the root of the problem. Early childcare educators just don't get paid enough.
So the requirements as per qualification and the workload does not match the wages we get.
Do you feel undervalued?
Very much so, especially in the last couple of years.
And they've really voted with their feet over the past 6 months or so, and we've seen enormous vacancies across the country.
And although the Albanese government has promised to fix this pay gap, that's easier said than done.
There's been only one successful equal remuneration order in the last 20 years.
He wants to go now. Does he? Where's he going?
Early childhood care has changed significantly these past 2 decades, with an increasing emphasis on education.
There's a long history of childcare being viewed as a place where you put children so you can go to work. We've only started to understand that over a more recent time, so it's not just about, babysitting or keeping children in a place so parents can go to work. It's about what we do with children in those spaces when they're there and the benefits of it.
And many argue the growing complexity of these jobs, which require either a diploma or bachelor degree, hasn't been fully recognised.
The work is highly female dominated, and there has been significant challenges in addressing gender pay equity.
SAMIRA SHIRE has been working in the industry since 2014, first as a support worker and now as a kindergarten teacher.
Our wages are one of the lowest in the country. I can't say the lowest, but it's really quite close. You have mature age educators on wages as low as $23, $22. I am aware of some of my friends, some of my colleagues, people who are just as recent as a couple of weeks ago left the whole sector for a job, for example, in driving job.
And the high turnover rate is affecting the quality of care and education.
Some of our research that we've recently reported shows that emotional attachment and that emotional quality of the environment has effects on children's language development, but also we've done some data linkage that shows that it has effects right through to secondary school education.
1, 2, 3, pull! Pull!
The Albanese government has promised to address the wages problem by strengthening gender equity sections of the Fair Work Commission and supporting legislation.
We won!
I think these are strong foundations for change. It's yet to transpire, of course.
And ultimately it will require the Albanese government to invest considerably more than the $5.4 billion it's already pledged to make childcare more accessible.
We need to more strongly advocate for those people in the workforce that they are not just childcare workers, they are seriously important educators at the most important point in human development.
What dinosaur is that one?
The bit that bugs me when I read comments from the community is always how people think that we are not qualified, how people think that only a percentage of a centre is only qualified educators and the rest are working without qualification. That's not the case.
Apart from wages, there are growing calls for the government to also undertake a major restructuring of the sector. More than 70% of service providers are private, for-profit operations, one of the highest rates in the developed world.
We have seen an increasing number of for-profit providers, listed companies and private equity that are making a lot of money off the taxpayers' money and off parent fees, and it's going to profit. It's not going to little children, and it's certainly not going to early educators.
One of the peak bodies for the industry denies this and says the government's immediate focus should be elsewhere.
I think the most important factor here is not trying to turn the sector upside down at a time when we have a workforce crisis and a time where our children need the best quality, consistent education and care.
You're covering down in the back.
Back at HILLBANK, Rebecca Stiles is not expecting her job to get any easier soon. And after 27 years in a job she's passionate about, the Centre Director is now contemplating the once unthinkable, joining the exodus.
And that's actually heartbreaking to think that actually crosses my mind, to think about moving on to somewhere else. It's really hard.